Yacheinu kol Beis Yisrael. Achtos. Kol Beis Yisrael. Okay. Zoro vashivya indi meimaya meimaya Yacheinu kol Beis Yisrael. Anesuni batzoro ubashivyo oimdim bein bayo ubein baya Yirachem aleim yoytziei mitzvoro levacha umeachel aleyayra umeshibo legeyola hashka hamakoim Yirachem aleim yoytziei mitzvoro levacha umeachel aleyayra legeyola hashka Bagola uvisman komoriv. A gute Moed Rabboisai. Lilui Nishmat Bas Mordechai. Today's amazing breakfast is not only sponsored, but also made. Each item here was homemade by Bentzion Novack as an entire mishpacha. Here, I have a picture of Beitzah. The sound I think is coming through over here. Caught them in action. Not only is this an act of chesed, one give back to the chabura, but also it's a lesson in chinuch. He had all his kids bake and cook, talking about it for days. He had them all up early, schlepping, setting out the tables. He didn't want to use our tablecloths. He wanted to buy his own tablecloths, his own napkins, everything. It's unbelievable. Tremendous. Bentzi is an amazing individual. So Yishkoyach, it's a schus to have him as part of the shir. Here he is. He's a big cheverman as well. Desserts, cheesecakes. And it's delicious. Unbelievable. Today's shir is sponsored. We have a Paras HaChodesh, Shmuly Hecht, in honor, who is F245, in honor of David Zlatnik, F200, Akiva Sulkowitz, F94, Sholom Rand, F202, Shmuly Davidowitz, Davidowitz, B202, Davidowitz, and the official 8-minute Daf Yomi committee by Shloime Rosenberg for the Yahrtzeit of his father, Dovid, Reb Shimon, by Michoel Yagudaev, Lilui Nishmat, his grandfather, Chazkiהו ben Yochanan, Shemanov, Sholom, and Sruli from Borough Park, proud member of the family since the beginning of Sukkah, before Sheleima, for Kleinem is Kalman ben Rachel, Yacht, I don't know, Yibal Chaim Tov? No, I don't know, maybe it's Yibal Chaim Tov. Rabbi Isai, sad news, our good friend, Gedalia Fenster from Miami, lost his 15-year-old son yesterday. Rechmiel Daniel ben Tova Basho, all of us Sholom. And we have a chiyuv as Yidden, as the Chabura, to reflect for a moment. When we hear something like that, we don't just say, Nebach, okay, next. But it says in Shmois, in the beginning of Shmois, it says, Vayar b'siv loisam. The Moshe Rabbeinu looked out his window, Vayar b'siv loisam. Rashi there says, Nosan Einov v'liboy, liboy ve'einov, something like that, a lashon, that Einov v'liboy liyoitz meitzer alehem. That Moshe Rabbeinu not only saw Vayar, but he felt it. So you have to pause for a moment and picture Rahman al-Islam, what it means to lose a child. Not only that, to go through years, I think it was a 12-year battle, years of the hospital visits, and just picture it. What these people went through. It's an unbelievable tsar, and we were with him. He's going to be sitting Shiva in Miami, I believe, after Yontif, and he should have an Achama then. If you are in Miami, visiting Miami for Sukkah, join the Miami Simchas Beis HaShoeva Sunday, September 26th. The Sukkah at the Waterway Shops in Marina, 3575 Northeast. Rabbi Yisai, today let's try to, I know it's not in the Bismillah, a little bit quieter. Shkoyach. 207th Street, Aventura, Florida, 8:30 p.m. Because I wasn't so nice to the Miami guys, not on purpose, by mistake, when by the CEO, I completely neglected them for a couple of days. So we're going to go through the south. Contact Michael Treat. There's also Simchas Beis Sheva tonight at Ben Schwartz's home. The Oilam from Brooklyn. Everybody surprise him, blow up his house. Oh, it's Motzei Shabbos. Okay. Yeah, don't surprise him tonight. Motzei Shabbos. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagofen. Castell, 2017. I just heard bad news, actually. Castell Winery burnt down. So enjoy it now. I don't know when the next batch is coming out.
10 years to make this.
And talking about Castell, Justin Ivry, I think he wants it to be anonymous, so it's anonymous. Thank you for your wonderful shiurim. I noticed you're missing some wine glasses. We're drinking Castell wine out of plastics. No, I have 60 brand new 15-ounce wine glasses, untoyable for MDY. I was going to co-sponsor and attend one of your breakfast Sukkah shiurim, but the time doesn't work out for me. Meanwhile, please accept these Kaisa Shel Brach on behalf of MDY. Please send me the address for drop-off ASAP. What's the address here? Anybody? Nachal Noam 2. Or 16/4 by Avi Kamiansky's house. I can leave the boxes near the door. No, you come in, say hello. P.S. What you're doing is nothing less than ripping back the technology from the Sitra Achras stranglehold and using it for the true intention. The B'nai Shalom created everything in this world for our benefit. Lahagdol Torah la'adira. I'm 100% sure that the B'nai Shalom did not create this technology in order to destroy us. If I had the power, I'd make it obligatory for every Firmiyah using this technology to commit to your share. Together, Klal Yisrael will overcome our generation's Nisayan and turn it into a massive triumph. May the Rebbeinu Shalom give you Rav Nachman Kedusha Archav Shalom Bayis Biris Nefesh V'Aguf V'Yitzliach B'Chol Inyon of the Toiva. L'Chvoid HaMokam L'Chvoid HaTorah B'Suras Toiva Zagut Moed. Gevaldik. Rabbi Sai, there's 225 new guys joining the shir, so you have to make a good impression. No talking during shir. Pretend we're all nice to each other. And there are 140 of us that got new people. So I want to read some of these names here. Not all of them, some of them only. Now, you tell them to go to join.dafyomi.com. Yosef is going to put it on the bottom of the screen so you don't have to remember it. And then he's also going to put it on the bottom of the screen growtheshir.com and MDYsponsor.com. Right, Yosef? Right. Max Aquinan, Aaron Avidayev, Ethan Barif, Ovadia Berg. These are all guys from the shir who brought in their friends. Natan Cohen, Nisim Duak, David Dunoff, David Feinberg. Who's that? David Feinberg is in the house. Who did you bring? Where is he? Who did you bring? A cousin. Gevaldik. Bad news. The guys in Israel don't get the special edition Gemara. Look at his eyes pop open. Tell him to drop it. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully we get it here. Yisrael Folda, Yossi Glock, Yeshua Goldstein, Isaac Goldstein, Zev Gruber, Uriel Hassan, Yochanan Itzkowitz, A.B. Joseph, David Cantor, Yaakov Kaznet, Ari Kesselman, Eliezer Kessler, Shad Kornwasser, Zev Leibowitz, Gershi Lowinger. You got to tell these guys to stop doing this because it's taking a long time at the beginning of this year. No emails. Liram Maccabi, Mark Medetsky, Edom Mushkevitz, Nachman Mostovsky, Avram Nekteltov, something like that. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this last name. Avram Dan Partouche, Harry Pell, Peretz Rappaport, Daniel Sarfati, M. Siegelman, Mark Siegelman himself. And I see Mark Siegelman sponsored Gemaras as well. Wow, very nice. Yishkoyach Mark for sponsoring. Aryeh Simmons, Parachia Sorsher, Dovid Vanderveld, Zev Waldman, Josh Wander, S. Weiss, David Zlatnik again, I believe, right? We said David Zlatnik. What's David Zlatnik's number? F202, maybe. Yaakov Garfinkel, Loz Jacobson, and Moti Weiner Bishkoyach to the Oilam. 202 is Rand. What's hold on, we gotta figure this out. David's like 200. He's off by 2. That means Rand joined that Salah like a day after is David Zlatnik. What else do we have here? Is that it for today? Okay. No, I thought I had a good Geschmack email here somewhere. One second, Rabbi side. Okay. We'll have to wait for a different day. We're running late anyways, and it's Erev Shabbos Kodesh. Rabbi said it rained. It did rain, but in the middle of the night, so we were saved. Yeah. Everything was in. Well, you have to watch the news, my friend. So what happened? You ran out in the middle? All right. Rabbi said we're starting a brand new Gishmaka Perek. Perek ain't sudden. And the official Mishnah is sponsored by official Refuas and Yeshuos for Brian Abbas Yenta Dvoira. Says the Mishnah, Ein. All right, Rabbi said, Ein sodin dogin min habivarim b'yantav. If you have a fish farm, you cannot catch the fish because anything that you could do before Yantif, you must do before Yantif. Now, an animal, what's the difference between a fish and an animal? What do you think, Rabbi said? What could be a logical difference between a fish and a deer? One, if you catch before Yantif, you could still eat it on Yantif, it'll be fresh, and that's a fish. You catch it, leave it, like they do in the fish store, put it in a bathtub or something. But a deer, if you try to shecht it before Yantif, it's not going to taste as good. So Mela, we want it nice and fresh. And so Rashi says very interesting. A fish doesn't need human intervention to survive. It's not like a dog. If you put a fish in a pond, it'll eat the smaller fish. It knows how to get along. Yeah, you got it? I got it also. Oh, we'll schmooze later, Friday night. So it could eat grass. It doesn't need your help. Thank you very much. It doesn't need your help. So a nice little name is Zionus. But if you have an animal, you have to feed it. You could grab a deer fresh right out of your enclosure, and you could feed it. Explains Reb Shimon Gamliel. It's not exactly so. It depends how large it is. As Gemara is going to explain. If you still need to trap it, you have to run after it and grab it, it's asur. If it's already there, it's in a small little box, great. Now, not everybody's zoicha like myself, but I know there's a lot of people in this room especially, or watching, that their wife complains a little bit, that the house is a little tight. What does it mean when a wife complains that the house is tight? How large is the house that we're talking about? Huh? It doesn't matter really, right? It could be 20,000 square feet, it's tight. So we're going to see, Be'ez Hashem, what tight really means halachically. Viriminu. It seems like a little bit of a contradiction. Bevarim shel chaya v'shel oifais. If you have an enclosure that holds animals or birds, ein sadin. What does it say in our Mishnah? Sadin. You're permitted to catch an animal and a bird on Yantif. And over here it says you're not permitted. What could be the answer if we thought about it ourselves? What could be an answer? Depending how trapped they are. Shouldn't there be like a picture over there for those who are spacing out? Okay. Okay, they're set together. The birds and the animals, and our Mishnah say it's mutter. Over here they both asur, but we're going to split them up a little bit. Says the Gemara, so the Gemara starts off saying, perhaps it's a machlokes tanaim. And then the Gemara says, you don't have to come on to it. So what's a machlokes tanaim? Ha Rabbi Yehuda Rabbanon, So first of all, I found a real picture of a deer in a house. Here's the deer in the house. It's off a video, so it's a little blurry. And this would be a bird in a migdal, a little bit of a tower, like a closet tower. And if you get the bird in there, then that's considered hatzot tzipar lemigdal utzvila bayis chayav. That's considered trapping it, bringing it in there into a house, closing the door on it, shutting the door in a closet. That's considered trapping, and it's awesome. But it says if you bring it into a huge enclosure, you own a ranch in Texas, it's 5,000 square acres, and you close the front door. That's not trapping. You'll never get it. So Chacham say that a deer, even to a beaver, even to maybe there's some fire somewhere. Those are the fire planes. I don't know if you can see it in the background, but yeah. But thanks for noticing. Oh, a bird, a plane. That's the type of plane I know how to fly, by the way. Single engine, but that's high performance. It's a little different. Okay, fine. So it says like this: if you trap a deer, even in a large enclosure in Texas, you're over. Ella. Okay, so you'll say one is Rabbi Yehuda, one is Chachamim. The one that says Zasa Chachamim, Rabbi Yehuda says Mutter. Eloif is Kasha. Now, you cannot trap a bird. Nobody says that you trap. Everybody agrees that if a bird is in a huge enclosure, like you could even go to the zoo sometimes and they have like these enclosures with birds. You can't catch any of the birds in there. A bird is too fast for you. Even if it's in your room, it's barely catchable. Okay, we'll see. Shobach is a little different. The Gemara talks about it in a second, somewhat. Perhaps you'll answer. If it's an enclosure that's closed like this, so that's considered trapped. And the place that says it's mutter because there's no ceiling, get away. But a house is completely enclosed. Everybody agrees. The only time you're over on catching on Seidah is if it's in a small little closet, like this picture. But anything larger than this is not considered trapping. The bird will get away from you. It's happened. I don't know if you guys have. Anytime birds get into your house, you can't. It's very hard to catch a bird, unless it's like a large pigeon, clumsy kind of bird. But typically speaking, not. Oh, we're talking about a drawer. It's very chutzpahdik. It doesn't listen to anybody. You think you're going to catch it, you're not going to catch it. Now, what is a drawer? So in Hebrew, drawer is a sparrow. And that seems to be the basic pshat in the Rishonim. It's one of these. Now, it's a house bird, meaning it could live in your house, and you're not going to be able to catch it. And maybe in the time of the Gemara, it was common to be literally in the house. It's very, very difficult to catch. If you ever notice this bird, I've seen a few times, it will be like eating in the middle of the street, and it sees a car coming, it takes a look at the car, continues to eat, and it makes this calculation and said, okay, the car is going 45 miles an hour, and a millisecond before the car, you'll never be able to, you can't run it. So this thing can live in your house, maybe even in your closet, you won't be able to get it. Others say, the Ramban seems to be saying that it's a swallow. It's also a very common bird. It's one of these, it's a black bird, you'll see it over water. They have it here in Bet Shemesh, they have it in America, I know in Chicago, I've seen it in many different countries. It's very hard, if you ever watch this guy fly, it's very hard to follow it more than 2 seconds. Because it goes up, back, left, it flies very erratically. So some people say that's the type of bird. The point is that you can't catch it. If you can't catch it, so even in a smaller place, it's not Seidah. Now, the Rabbeinu Tam brings from this Gemara, I just want to point out, I spoke to Rabbi Schoenberg, he's here. Rabbi Schoenberg, I had a long conversation with him because in Or HaMerkaz, the next issue, right? He has a very long piece on the drawer. And he told me a little secret about Beitzah. I don't know if he wants me to tell. He has all his Divrei Torah mapped out until Hanukkah. And he works on it all week long. It's a full-time job. So don't think this comes easy. It's not like he had this. He works for Or HaMerkaz. So we're zoicha that we have Rabbi Schoenberg in our midst, and he's been with us for 3 years. It's a tremendous chus and a kavod. He goes through and he loves these kind of things. What is it exactly? How does it fit in with coins and milk and zach? Okay, as soon as I mentioned the milk thing, the carousel right away told me the need a mishgich tmidi. Some the badat holds you need a mishgich because no tchilas chaliva. All these interesting stuff. That's Rabbi Schoenberg. Anyway, right? Because you could start as they start milking the cow and then walk away and nichnas v'yaitza. But if it's one of these carousels that goes 6 months straight, every 6 months they stop it. So you need a mishgich for all 6 months. According to the Badat, fine. Bottom line is, Rabbi Tam says that from our sugi, it seems like that this drawer is kosher. And not only that, it says that the Mitzayra would have to bring as a carbon, he'd bring the tzipor drawer. I hope I'm not giving away his whole shtickle because we didn't discuss this part. Yet, the tzipor drawer, you would have to, the Mitzayra brings it. Now, why does the Mitzayra bring it? Because he spoke Lashon Hara. He chirps. So you bring a bird that chirps. So he says there's no bird in the world that chirps more than a drawer. They're constantly chirping. Fine. What? But anyway, the bottom line is, the Marik says that if it's black or green, it's tameh. If it has a white stomach like this, it's tar. And maybe some people say that a drawer means all small birds, fine. But the bottom line is, and this is Rabbi Schoenberg told me, and I found this later on, that in Halberstadt, in Germany, they would shecht one of these birds every single year just to keep the Messiah, so that if somebody one day needs to eat this bird, there should be a Messiah. So every year, now it happens to be that in Lita, they try to eat this bird during the war. And they found out very quickly that there's absolutely no protein in it. It's such a small bird, it doesn't contain any protein, and they just gave up. It wasn't worth the effort. Fine. Zog the Gemara. So you have a tzipor drawer, and Rabbi Shmuel, the Tana of Rabbi Shmuel, Amanik Shmuel tzipor drawer. Why is it called drawer? Shedara bebayis kibasada. It has no problem living in somebody's house. You'll never catch it. Says the Gemara. Okay, so once he came up with a nafkamina distinction between a fast bird, a slower bird, a larger place, a smaller place. And I can answer it the same way when it comes to a larger animal. If it's a small enclosure, it's considered trapped. Large enclosure, not. What does it mean small? Oh, so going back to my question before, what is considered a tight house? When a woman wants to move, she's like, I gotta get out of this. It's too small. This 6,000 square feet is naira volume, naira. All my friends have much more than me. And says, how can I live? How do you expect me to live like this? Not my wife, that's wrong, because we went from the whatever. We'll be Baniva. We'll say 11,000 square feet because it's really 12. 11,000 to 2,000. Omer Avashi, Kolech, he's up. He's up and about. Gershon Gevaldik. He's here. Omer Avashi. What does it mean? If you could jump at it, one jump, that's already a tiny little house, and it's time to upgrade the house. Now, the Rebbeinu Chananel on the side says a little bit different shot and changes the whole house size. He says, as long as you don't get tired, you're running, you're chasing this animal, you're not tired, so that's a much larger house. That's already sort of like you guys' wives, not mine. So it's a larger house. Okay, fine. Anything larger than that is considered a large enclosure. Another Gemara says 3 pshatim, it's all the same thing. The idea is the same. If the animal can't get away because it's a small thing, you could jump, try to catch a deer on this porch. I don't think you'll be able to. One-on-one, I don't think you stand a chance. You go this way, I'll go that way. It's very tough to, I can't even catch Yosef in basketball. I'm going to catch a deer. You know what I'm saying? 4-legged thing that runs 60 miles an hour. Now, if it has many corners, bever gadol, it could hide here, it could hide there. It doesn't have that many corners. Inami, another thing, if the walls cast a shade on each other, so Tais always, anytime we had this sugi in Shabbos, I believe. So Tais says the same thing. Well, what do you mean the walls? What if I have a 75-foot wall? Or I have a 200 amma, 100 amma wall, like in the Beis Hamikdash. I had 100 amma, the Mishkan, 100 amma. So what? It could cast a shadow on anything. So Tais says no. They had a standard height. Like today, we have 8-foot ceilings. There's a standard height. We're going with the standard height. The halacha is like Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. that you can only take an animal if it's considered trapped. If you're telling me that halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel, that means that somebody argues with him. So he tells him, okay, so somebody, I'm telling you that halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel. Who cares if somebody argues or not? It's one of the beautiful sayings in Shas. If you look at Rashi, Dibber Maskil, Gemara, like a third from the bottom. He says, Mashal Shoitimhu. This is a mashal you tell an idiot. Kemoi, Zvoin Vizabein, Tagri Ikri. Also, Gevaldik Eloshin. The Gemara always says when somebody does business and he doesn't make any money, so what? What are you doing it for? You want to be considered, you want people to say, oh, he's a businessman. You buy it for $1 and you sell for 90 cents. So why are you doing it? Because, oh, look, he's a mamish, a cheverman, he's selling, he's buying, he's constantly, look how much schar he goes through. That doesn't make any sense. Zvoin zabein, tagri. So also, kach gemar, you tell an idiot, just learn it. I don't care what it says, what it means. It should be like a song. You don't know what the words are. And at the end of the day, you're saying shtosim, you don't know what you're saying. You have to know what you're saying. You have to understand the Gemara, you have to know before you talk. At the end of the day, I believe if I was in yeshiva now, because I was a big anti-Daf Yomi guy, so this would have been like my favorite line. I'll tell all the Amaratzim, the Balabatim, oh, Gemara, Zmarta to hey, well, you're just going to learn, and you don't even understand what you're saying? No, so how come I didn't use that line when I was in yeshiva? Because I never got there. Isn't that Chav Daled? So yeshiva guys don't know about this line. I'm mazel. It's mamash and neis. Okay, zok to Gemara. Zaklal. Kol mechusar tzeidah. Eichidam mechusar tzeidah. What does it mean? That he explains, Rav Shimon Gamliel explains, if you still need to catch it, it's considered tzeidah what you're doing. If you don't, if it's not a big deal to grab it, it's not considered trapping. Over Rav Yezer, Rav Yudam, Shmuel, Kol Shoimer, Havei, Mitzuda, Unutzudeno. If you tell your friend, let's go, we got to get something, we got to find our net, then it's already a what? Gear up. That's it. That means it's tzeidah. Now, Beitzah, if you heard the story, be Michoel me. But I have to tell you this. When I was 10 years old, for a very strange reason, I never found out really. But one day I'll have a discussion with my father. He sent me to a high school in Tifrach. Tifrach is in the desert. So I just came off the boat. I was a month and a half in Tajbar and in Bnei Brak. And he said, no, that's not enough for you. You got to go to Yeshiva Ketana now. 10 and a half years old. I'm off in the desert. So first day, I'm there. I look around. I ask the guy, no, where's the basketball court? It's just up with the Zara. So no, they don't baseball. He didn't know what baseball was. They didn't know what baseball was. I said, it's a stick. They're looking at me like a meshuga. They just knew about soccer. No, so where's the soccer field? No. Kids are 10 and a half years old. I'm going out of my mind. Now let's just say I was a little active then. I don't know about the hyper part, but the active. And I'm 10 and a half years old. I need to play. This is recess. What do you do? So I take a look. It took like a day or two to chaf this, but I'm looking past the houses. It's still the same thing, Tifrach, I believe. I was there like 10 years ago, but I don't think anything changed. There's some houses, and past the houses is already desert and fields. I look, I see a donkey. Oh, now that's a great activity. So I go towards the donkey, and he's looking at me the whole time. He's looking and looking. It took me like 15 minutes to trek out there. And when I'm literally 10 seconds away from him, he booked out of there. The next day, same thing. So now I decided to go during Seder. I go during Seder. First Seder is really boring for me, a 10-year-old learning like for 3 hours straight. What kind of Mishugah? So I go out to catch the donkey. Same story. I go out there. And as I get to him, I was like, gonna grab it. He runs away, and I couldn't catch him. So finally, after a week of doing this, I had a plan. I took some of the guys. I told the guys, listen, there's a donkey out there. We need to catch the donkey. Yeah. So what are you gonna do? I'm gonna go all the way around it, and I'm gonna chase it until it comes all the way to you. And once it comes to you, it's gonna be a little tired. You'll jump on it. Kachava. I trek like instead of 15 minutes, I go 20 minutes out. And I start chasing it this way. So it starts running towards Tifrach. It gets to Tifrach. 2-3 guys jump out of the bushes. Boop, they catch it. So we had a donkey. We had this donkey for at least a month. We didn't feed it. It was crying at night. We didn't know why. Kids was hungry. We didn't know what to feed it. We gave it bananas. Didn't want to eat it. Kids, we gave it some of the To make a long story short, the yeshiva found out that I caught a donkey, and I'm only in the yeshiva for like a week and a half at this point. And in front of the whole yeshiva, he calls me out. And he says, look at this Meshugana. He comes from Bnei Brak. And instead of learning in Seder, all he does is chases donkeys. Look at his pants. They're dirty. And he's mamish making fun of me, barabim. So that was the Maisa. One of my friends actually went off the derech from that Rosh Yeshiva. I'm not kidding. Not only did he go off the derech, he opened up a terrible organization that helps people go off the derech, but then later on, he became a Baal Tshuva and he had a lot of charata. Okay, I spoke to him about it. The bottom line is, here, this is what I have to say. He wrote famous farm. I'll show you a sefer afterwards. I don't want to call him out. The donkey I gave to the son of the farmer in town. He had chickens and cows and he had the donkey. And I found out later, it wasn't like a hefker. I thought donkeys just hang around in the desert. No, it was owned by an Arab in the desert. That's all it was. We stole his donkey. But the bottom line is, even a kid that chases donkeys during first Seder could be a magichir at the end of the day. Never give up. L'chaim. What? Which one? Yeah. Which part? It was not L'Shem Shemayim. All right. Zokti Geheli Gemara. So when people say Kol Shomer Havei Mitzudo and Sudeno, no, that I told my friends, let's go, we got to catch it. That's really tzayid. That farmer's son, I don't know if he had the opportunity ever to chase a chicken. Also, almost impossible to catch a chicken. Chickens are quicker than human beings usually. Shoemrim Havei Mitzudo and Sudeno. The same thing, you have to catch it with something, a device. If you have these pigeons that are drisais, you potter. Now, what is that drisais? Rashi says in one of his pshatim that Hurdus, he was a king and he invented this kind of bird. Now, it's very interesting. We learned once, and I couldn't find it this morning. I apologize. I don't know if it's a Gemara. I remember something like to the point where he had. Oh yeah. I did find it. I found it in Chulin. Sorry, I found it in Chulin Kuf Lametes. Yeah, I did find it, but I didn't have time to look it up. I came out because it was a very interesting lashon. He put many rows of these birds, and as he walked by, they would say, "Bire, bire," like king, king. And there was one mechutzav bird that said Kiri, because Hurdos was actually a slave, and he called him a slave, and he said, "Off with his head." He had the bird killed immediately. It's a crazy story. Anyway, so he invented these birds. He had such low self-esteem that he had birds saying, "You're the king, you're the king." It's unbelievable. Yeah, we're all the same. Well, the reason why you're not over and say this is because they come into their coop at night, so they're considered trapped. You could catch a chicken, can't really see at night when it's dark. You could just walk over it and grab it. Since it goes into the coop by itself, so what's the difference? You catch it now, you catch it an hour from now, it's going to go there anyway, so it's considered caught, the Gemara says, at this point. Says the Gemara, what about, shoivach? That's what Lauren was saying before, right? It was Lauren. That they come at night, I have a little bit of picture if you want to see. They would hang these kind of jars outside of their houses in order to help the birds nest. So if you go into one of these jars and you grab the bird, that's not seder because it's already there. It's already easy to catch. So you chayiv on a pigeon. You need two conditions. First, they come back at night. You also feed chickens. Pigeons you don't feed. Pigeons come back to the shayvach. They get their food on their own. So if mezainis alecha and they come back, then it's not considered seder. Rav Mari Omar Hani Avidi L'Rabuye, V'Hani Lo Avidi L'Rabuye. The chickens don't run away, but the pigeons do. Says Gemara Kulun Ami Avidi L'Rabuye. What are you talking about? Chickens? You ever try to catch a chicken? Don't run away. In other words, if a chicken is already in its coop, it's not going to try to run outside of the coop. It's already in and lets you catch it. But a pigeon, even if it's inside the shayvach, inside the pigeon coop, the dovecote, it will try to escape. Says the Mishnah, the official Mishnah sponsored by official Refuas Shleima from Yosef ben Chana. Mitzudois chayvayv. So we're going to talk about that you need to have these animals that are, you have to do azmana, you have to designate these animals. I want it, we had it already in the Masechta, you have to designate the animal, say I want it for shechting. It's called muchan. Is it ready? Is it available for shechita? Mitzudois chayvayv v'dagim shasam merev yantiv. If you trap the animals before yantiv. Lo yitam mehem b'yantiv, sorry. You set the trap before yantiv, and you have an animal there, you cannot take the animal out on Yontiv. Unless you know for a fact that what happened before Yontiv. Says Gemara Maisa. This is a story. No. This is a question of Muktzah. The animal was born way before. But you cannot, an animal that's not designated for eating is Muktzah. A guy, believe it or not, Rashi says, Reb Gamliel hated this guy. They were enemies. Why the guy went out of his way? Maybe he wanted to appease him. Gave him some fish on Yontif. You're permitted halachically. I hate him. I don't want to take anything from him. The Vilna Gaon says always that when you receive anything from anyone, any gift from anyone, including this breakfast, Lamashal, you owe that guy. You owe him. The Brisker Rav says the cheapest thing is when you have to pay for something. But when you don't pay, it's much more expensive. If somebody gives you a free breakfast, you owe him for the rest of your life. Now, you might not be mechuyev, you owe him. There's a certain chayiv here. And that's why it says, it's better not to receive anything from anyone. So he didn't want to take from the guy. I don't like him. I don't want to owe him anything. Says the Gemara, Maisa Listar, what's going on here? You say halacha, and then it seems like from the story that it's fakert. You say that it's mutter. It's mutter to take from a guy. No, but I didn't take from a guy. Safek muchan asur. V'imliel mater. So that's not mentioned in the Mishnah. What if you're not 100% sure when exactly this was trapped? It's a suffix. So Reb Gamliel, the Tanakama holds it's asur to use. Reb Gamliel says it's mutter, and then on that, it's actually mutter the suffix. The Gemara's question is really the listar is from the Reisha. The bottom line is that there's a little bit missing. In other words, we have to explain the Mishnah a little bit, not missing, but just a simple explanation. We're talking about something that's a suffix, and there's a machlokes between Tanakama and Reb Gamliel. Reb Gamliel says that it's mutter if you have a suffix, but I don't want to use it to guys. And the Tanakama says you're not allowed to use it. The suffix. Yeah. Oh, so good question. Let me ask you something. If could a guy do any malacha for you? Doing it for himself or doing it for you? Well, at the end of the day, let's say he's doing it for you. So he gave it to you. So who did he do it for? That's friend. He's like, oh, you know what? I want to give my two friends. But at the end, it was for you. At the end of the day, it was for you. Oh, you're saying maybe? Okay, I hear. Now you could have a shayla on the whole sugya, but that's exactly it. But you're asking to me that if the guy does it for you, it's also. Says the Gemara, the Allah is not like Reb Gamliel. Safek should be also. Oh, so over here, the only difference is that it sticks in another man Omar. His name is Rabbi Yeshua, and it says Rabbi Yeshua is the one that says Aser. Reb Gamliel says mutter. Reb Gamliel we already know says mutter. We just didn't know the name of the other man Omar. Now I have a name. I'm going to tell you that Allah, not that halacha is not like Rabbi Gamliel, but rather the halacha is like his name is Rabbi Yeshua. It's Aser if you have a suffix, whether or not it was designated before Yontif. And some people say a third time, not something else. Turning to Daf Amud Beis, shaychtim min hanigarim b'Yontif. So nigarim is basically like a body of water that you put in there, and you put a fence in there. It's a little trick. It's not so nice. Like in the safari, going back to safari. Where's the best place to catch an animal? If you're a lion, right? You want to be a lion, you go to the water hole. You hang out by the water hole. So a guy makes a little bit of a water hole, and eventually the animals start coming there, and then he puts a little fence. If all he needs to do is close the door and they're his. So you're allowed to, it's very easy to capture them, and that's considered already that it was Seder before, and Memela, it's Shoichtim in Anagorim Beyontim, and it's Mutter. Avaloi min Rishatois umin amechmoiros. Not from traps, mechmoiros traps. Rishatois are nets. Now, what's this net? It's a very simple device. It's a net, but it's a very, very long net, says Rashi. Let's say it goes 500 feet. And all you need to do is peek out of your window, because the animals don't hang out in your backyard. So you set up the trap 500 feet out of your backyard, but you could tell if an animal gets caught in the trap, it's going to yank the whole trap. Even the part that's in your backyard is going to fall off the hook. So you look at the backyard, you see the trap is on the floor. Oh, Baruch Hashem, I caught something. I'll go get it later. So if you have an animal in one of your nets, you're not allowed to. Why? Well, in Maisa, you saw that the trap fell Erev Yontif. But that's possible that another animal came by, an elephant walked by, ripped off the net off whatever it was, and that's why you saw part of it on the floor by your backyard. But in fact, there's no animal in there Erev Yontif. The animal that you caught was on Yontif. But Rabbi says, so geschmack, in the Sukkah, we're kind of in mitzvah every second we're here. Yes, the schach is bouncing up and down, and there's planes flying by. It's, so beautiful, so beautiful. And Bentzi's food, Neuravayim.
Yeah, but now we owe him.
Yeah. Now we owe him. No, we don't owe him. Bentzi, you don't know. A regular person, yes, Bentzi not. Bentzi doesn't believe Sholom. Yeah, come here. Get over here, Bentzi. Get over here. You got to get over here. If you want to say something, Bentzi, get on. Bentzi, get over here. You want me to come to you? You're going to be in now. Yeah. Wait until you're here. Here, sit down. BentziTours.com. He's one of the world famous tour guides in Eretz Yisrael. Yeah.
People ask me why did our family,
hold on,
sponsor the
which one
breakfast today. We don't need a mic. I have a mic over here.
Yeah?
Yes. Okay,
he just did a tour with 120 seminary girls. I believe him.
Okay.
Yeah.
People ask me what's the occasion, what's the reason, why did they sponsor breakfast over here? And I'm going to tell you, we're not a rich family and we don't have extra stuff, but we do have a lot of across the Torah for the members and the Rabbonim and the Achraim and the Marganim, whatever it is, of the Mekkas Daf Yomi. Every time I come, I'm not coming so often, I come 2 or 3 times a week.
He's a nurse also who does night shifts, and anytime he has a minute to come, he comes. Yeah,
I'm after night shifts, so don't talk. I'm
so,
after night shifts.
Whatever. That's what you don't.
I cooked in the hospital.
Really?
Yeah.
You cooked in the Bamas?
I did a night shift today.
No wonder the food is so good in Hadassah. Yeah.
No, it's also Shai Tzedek. Okay. Yeah. So the idea is that it's only Eli Stefansky. Okay.
I told him that yesterday also. He didn't listen to me. No, next.
It's only as a course, a Torah for everybody. Every time I come to the shiur, everything's prepared. The Mecca is prepared. We drink good coffee. There's a good air conditioner. It's something not muvan me'ilav. So is a karat tov. I'm very, very thankful. Sorry about my English. When we have a lot of karat tov, and I think this is the minimum of the minimum we could do is a karat tov to be part of the Mecca Daf. And each one to help out the Mecca Daf Yomi whatever they could. Yes,
beautiful. Shkoyach Benz. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Means a lot. It means a lot. Yishkoyach. All right. But you should know, Bentzi, more than you gave us, you gave yourself and your children. It's a tremendous lesson in chinuch, a tremendous chesed. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, get over here. You have to get over here because I don't know how to pronounce your name. Get over here. Come on. Once we're here. Yeah. Sponsored by the MDY Tehillim group. For all those who need to do Refuas and Yeshuos, please join us at Tehillim.8mindaf.com. Sponsored by Natan Khoshnood. Whatever you get. All the way from Los Angeles. For schos for my children, Michoel Yagudaev, Yisrael Yaakov ben Dvara, that should be both do well in Eretz Yisrael, have a cheshek in Torah, and have yirah shamayim and mitzvahs. Yishkoyach, thank you very much. All right, moving on. Alright, what a let's. Let's is also in the Sukkah. He got me like 4 days in a row, every day. The starter, the Mitsubishi, what is it, a Mitsubishi? Mitsubishi air conditioner that we have in the base medrash, the quietest. Come on, now that you had it for over a year, is it not the best? It is, it's on the 21 degrees. Okay, weiter. Next, don't let the ADD take over, Eli. Don't let it happen. If you found the net down, then you know that it happened before Yontif. But if you found it down on Yontif, now you know that it happened on Yontif. You're not allowed to. Why? Because it's not Muchan, it's Muktzah. So the Gemara wants to make a typical Gemara diuk. From the Reisha, if you infer from it, it comes out one way, and from the Sefer, you infer from the Sefer, it comes out the opposite way. What do you do? What the Gemara is going to answer is very interesting, that it's in fact not a Reisha and a Sefer, it's one long sentence. And from one long sentence, you can infer two separate things. Says the Gemara, if you find the net down, Erev Yontif, be a dua, then you know for sure, then you know that it was trapped Erev Yontif. Taima up. But I can infer from that time of the bom kukalim. That's because you found the net down. Hasveika, you didn't know, you never noticed, and now you don't know when it happened. Asurim. So it comes out that a suffix is asur. It's because you weren't besafik, that's why it's mutter. But if you were besafik, it's asur. Now a seifa. If you found it on Yontif that it's down, the net fell down, and you know it was trapped in Yontif, so mela, you're allowed to eat it. But time at the bottom of being kukalim, the reason why it's us is because it happened on Yontif, and in Yontif it's also to eat. But it seems like if that suffix developed Erev Yontif, it would be mutter. So is it a mutter or is it an asur? What do I do? It's one long statement. If you found it Erev Yontif, now I know that for a fact, 100%, not 100%. 85% that there's an animal in there that was trapped Erev Yontif, and therefore it's mutter. Hasveika. Now stick this in. This is how I explain the suffix. I'm telling you the suffix. If it's a suffix, that's a commission it's Yontif asurin. If I don't know, that becomes asur. And therefore, and then just continues what happens on Shabbos. Shmuel, halacha Shimon ben Elazar. That what? If it's a suffix, muchan, suffix when it was prepared, it's asur. But if a trap fell down, you have to assume that it happened the day before. V'amar mutarimim. So Reb Shimon Gamliel said that somebody should ask them if they turn off the music for 5 minutes. Maybe not. Never happened. Okay. Okay. V'amar mutarimim. So Reb Shimon Gamliel says he received the gift from a guy, and he says, you're allowed, everybody's allowed to, but I'm not going to take it from him. I don't like him. So, Reb Gamliel, not Reb Shimon, Reb Gamliel. So, mutar l'mai. What does he mean by that? It's mutar. What? Mutar what? Rabba mutum l'kabel. So this is very interesting. You're not allowed to eat it, but you could receive it. What does it mean receive? I can hold it in my hand. It's not muktzah. Which is interesting. We have to understand, and that the first Tosfos in the Masechta talks about this idea. If you can't eat it, then it should be muktzah automatically. Okay, fine. But Rav says you can't eat it, but you could receive it. You could pick it up and put it down. No, you can go all the way. You can eat it if the guy gives it to you. Omar Rav. Says Rav an amazing thing, and this is going to get to us also. Daf Yomi people. If you miss one day of Daf Yomi, bad things could happen. Why? We were right in front of Rab. He was saying this over. At night, he said that when you receive something from a guy, he said it's mutter. What's mutter? Bachila, I can go all the way and eat it. Now you know why I don't like sleeping in the sukkah in this porch. You hear that noise? 3 a.m, you got this. Drummers, the guys here at the park, right over there is the beautiful park. So the teenagers like to hang out there. They start hanging out about 3, 4 in the morning. screaming and yelling. It's not about.
Tell Dr. Epstein to hold it down.
Who?
Dr. Epstein.
Dr. Epstein. Where is he?
He's on the drugs.
You're very loud, Dr. Epstein. They say you. when he studies his Hebrew, it's mamish. Keeps me up at night. Zog the Gemara. It's not Dr. Epstein. Yep. You hear what's going on here? You have somebody so chashav saying a shir, and he says, listen, you're allowed to eat it. If a guy gives it to you, it's not muktzah, you're allowed to eat it. And then a couple hours later, he says, no, sorry. Not allowed to eat it. You're allowed to touch it, but don't eat it. So whoever missed that, missed the whole boat. For generations, he's going to go and darshan like Levi and say, I heard my Rebbe. And he's not wrong. He did hear his Rebbe. His Rebbe said, mutar b'achila. But his Rebbe took it back. His Rebbe's allowed to make a mistake, took it back, and you missed it. Do not miss a daf. Don't miss a day. Meisvei. Nachri shehevi doiron liYisrael. This is very interesting. I saw halacha mamish l'maisa b'negea based on this sugya for sukkahs. What if a guy cuts a hadassim for you on Yantif? Or Aravas? Now I need to point this out again. Mention it all the time. I was mortified to hear, even from women, from my wife, I should say, people that they didn't go to the daf. My cleaning lady told me, they call her every Shabbos, many times. Could you please do this, please do that? So I told her, give me some examples of what they do. Some guy in the neighborhood asks her almost every Shabbos to turn on the computer so you could see what's going on in this. Turning on lights, turning off lights, turning on the air conditioner. How do they say it? She tells me exactly. People do not know, and they're over Isser Rices. So we have to be careful. If a guy does any malacha, Rabbi say, if a guy turns on the lights in your dining room for you, even if you hint this way and hint that way, and they walk out, Amir Lakum. Amir Lakum. Okay. LED is only there. Okay. If you tell the guy to turn on the light, beremez, l'chayra, the way it came out from my sukkah, again, I'm not a rav and I just drink wine. Not a lot of passing. L'chayra, you have to walk out of the room. You cannot benefit from the light. You can't say, oh, she did it already. Okay, now let's sit down and eat the meal. You cannot benefit from it if it's something that you couldn't do beforehand. So certainly you can't read a book, So all these things, we have to be careful. If a guy goes and takes off an adas for you, could you use it or not? So the Minchas Yitzchak said, that's not awesome. But the Minchas Yitzchak says you can't use that dasim. Rav Shlomo Zalman says you could, but just think about it before you tell the guy. Again, should I tell you my father's favorite ma'isa, even though I said it 2 weeks ago? Yeah, okay, Nachamol. It's Kedai Chazar. It's like I heard this ma'isa 1,000 times, so you guys could hear it twice. The guy didn't have his lights on. He didn't have his lights on Shabbos, and he didn't know what to do. It was mamish. So he's in Williamsburg. He opens up the front door and he waits for a Gishmaki guy to walk by. And finally a guy walked by. So he tells him, excuse me, can you help me out? Sure. He says, what do you need? He says, it's very dark in here. He says, you're right. It's very dark in here. He says, yeah, but I'm Orthodox and I can't turn on the light. He says, oh, that's a very interesting law you have. Why? You can't understand that. He says, yeah, and I also can't tell you to turn on the light for me. Wow, it's getting even more interesting. And he's like, this guy's a shoyte. Finally, he said, listen, he started making cheshbonos in his head. I've been outside 10 minutes looking for a guy. And this guy, this is the best I could get. The guy's mouth doesn't have what's going on. He said, no, just turn the switch. So the guy tells him, Amir La'akim Asur. Kitzer, okay. It was a Satman Chassid that went off a little bit. And he played a nice game with the guy. So anyway, the bottom line is, don't tell the guy. Fine. Here's another interesting shaila. Very interesting shaila. It happens all the time here in Israel. Could we guys on the first day of Chol Hamoed cut hadassim for Americans and English people? For them, it's the second day Yontif, and they need hadassim. Could. And it turns out, I think maybe that was the Minchas Yitzchak and the Shloime Rosenberg. I confused it. So whatever I said before is over here is machlokes achronim, whether you're allowed to. Fine. Oh, thank you, Rabbi. I know this is the middle, and a lot of people are not going to hear this. So if you have friends and relatives, Motzei Shabbos, we're going to start a half hour earlier, requested by Gershon and the crew. Why? Because when Shir is over, we want to do a phenomenal kumzitz, the Kovid Yantif. And we have Gershon's son who has an amazing voice. We have Avi's sons who have amazing voices. And we're going to have, not here, in MDY, the Shir is at 9 o'clock at MDY, Motzei Shabbos. Should be here? He's right. Food. Okay, we'll do it here. I'll tell my wife. She loves me already. What's another day? It's not a big deal. Yeah, no, okay, fine. Good. Mati is sponsoring up to 70 pies. No, don't worry about it, Mati. We'll take care of it. You. What? Dr. Factor's bringing wine. Mati's bringing pizza for 30 people. We need another person for pizza. Menachem is bringing brownies. What else we have? What do you got? More pizzas. You deal with Mati on pizza. But coordinate so that, the different places and, okay, fine. I don't know. You know how to do it. But Rabbi, tell your friends because we want a big matzav of a kumzitz here. Guitars, bring your instruments, bring your voices.
Bring your instruments, bring your guitars.
Okay. Says the Gemara. Amarav. We did this already. Meisvei. We're almost done, Rabbi. Almost done. I know David ben Midrasho Hadrabi. Levi the David ben Midrasho Hadrabi. Bay. So Levi wasn't there. He didn't know to take it back. Meisvei. Nachri she'evi darin Yisrael afilu dogim hamefulamim. If a guy brings a gift to a Jew, even very moist fish, uperis b'nei yoiman. Remember, we started out the Masechta really on the Daf Beis already, the bottom of Daf Beis, the sugya of peris hanoishrim. Fruit that falls off the tree is also on Shabbos and Yantiv, and if it's fruit that just was picked off the tree now, you're not allowed to eat it. Mutar. You're allowed to. Now it doesn't say what you're allowed to do with it. It says mutar. So bishleim mutar like kabel shapir. If it just means you can receive it, okay, mutar. That makes sense. But if the word mutar means I'm allowed to eat it, you're not allowed to eat it. Even if it was in your backyard, your own backyard, and a fruit fell off the tree, you can't eat it. So certainly if a guy gives it to you, but wait a minute, if you're talking about fruit that just came off the tree, you're not allowed to even touch it, it's muktzah. We're talking about red fish. In other words, you slit its cheek and you look in like by the gills or whatever, where you look inside there, and if it's very red, you know that it's fresh. You're talking about fresh-looking vegetables. But then they weren't. The fish wasn't caught today. The vegetables weren't picked today. They just look like they're fresh. Omar, Rav Papa, Hilchas Nachri Shevi Darli Yisrael. The halacha is if a guy gives you a gift, biyantev, if they're still on the tree, so in other words, you makti your das, you have no intent of ever eating from those fruits, is on the tree still, aser, so it's aser even if the guy does it for himself, for you. Ula erev nami asurim bichdei shiyasu, and at night it's aser, says Rashi, it's aser until first bichdei shiyasu means however long it takes to pick an apple off a tree. Let's say it takes 25 minutes, so you have to wait until matzei hachag plus 25 minutes. So let's say you have a 2-day yantif. Says Rashi, you only wait until matzei the first night. Why? As a manashach. If the first day is a weekday, so you didn't do anything. And if the first day is yantif, so now you just waited 25 minutes. Now, I just want to point out, I know we're late, but there's some very interesting lashonas in this last Rashi on the Amud. I want to point them out to you. First of all, he says, Kain daiti noitav, yeshli rayis harbe. I thought that was interesting. V'lo zachisi lishol as pi Rabbi Yaakov b'davar zeh. I wasn't able to ask my Rebbe. Ki hayu noigim b'hetem b'krimeinu v'ayli davar pasha, and I thought it's simple. Ulachem p'tirasi shel Rebbe. Then Shamati is Rebbe Yitzchak Alevi Shu Oyser. I don't know. I thought it was very interesting. I didn't have a chance to ask my Rebbe, and then I had Charata. I didn't ask him after his niftar. It was already too late. Now look at Taisvis. He also has a very interesting lashon here. Like a third down the page, he says, "V'gam Rabbeinu Koloinimis Ish Roimi Baki B'Kol Hashas." He knows all of Shas. Sholach li Ktav Meir Girmiza Kemoisi, to say like me. All right, Rabbi Isai. Rashi in the bottom. What? Yeah, same thing. Yeah, Varikin. You're right. Right. Says the Gemara. Just two more lines. But if it's not on the tree, if it's within the 2,000 amas from the city limits, it's mutar. But if you brought it for Ruvain, so Shimon is allowed to use it. Why? Because tchum is only the Rabbanon, unless you hold like Rabbi Akiva. But we hold that tchum is the Rabbanon, so we're not so machmir. Rabboisai, have a wonderful Shabbos, a good Moed. Thanks for joining, and thanks Bentzion Novack once again. Shira Malois and Mayim Achroinim right now.